that I need is already within me. And so we say, welcome to our virtual community that is joining us this morning. Welcome to the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living here on the beautiful Monterey Peninsula. And I know wherever you are viewing in from, it is a beautiful day because life is beautiful, God is good, everything is absolutely operating in divine, right, and perfect order. We're continuing with our annual theme, which is Living Everyday Wonder, and our focus for February is the inner life, looking within, recognizing that everything that I need is already within me. And our topic for today is Forgive to Live. And as I unfold this, the intention is to guide us down that path that reminds us that forgiving of ourselves is also forgiving another, because there is no other. We're all one. We're all united together. And I saw this quote from Mary Davis in the book Everyday Spirit. And what Mary writes is a note from my higher self, from her higher self to her earth self. And it reads, be patient. You have all the time that you need. Your work is meaningful, and you're being guided by a powerful connection with the divine. Enjoy the journey and the questions. There is no race or struggle. There's only the path of love. So the path of love is this journey of forgiveness that we travel. And what really resonated with me in this quote is that part that says, there is no race or struggle. And it reminds me of one of my favorite flowers, and that is a stargazer lily. And I intentionally buy them with the buds all closed, because I like to watch the blossoms unfold. And that becomes a metaphor for me for forgiveness. At the beginning, the bud is very tight, and that tightness in the arena of forgiveness often appears as resistance to what was, or often to what is. And then as the practice of forgiveness is nurtured, the bud loses that tightness, loses its grip, and the bud begins to open and open and open. And then as we arrive in consciousness to the awareness of our oneness with life, then the bud bursts into full blossom. And the aroma that is released from the little pods or whatever they're called, inside of the lily are very magnificent, very sweet smelling, brings a nice fragrance to the surrounding. And you know, I must be honest with you this morning. I really had a challenge in preparing this talk. You know, following the outline, there were items in there that I was just arguing with. I go, no, I don't believe this. This doesn't resonate for me. And that is one of the beauties of the teachings of Science of Mind. We don't offer you what to believe. We teach you how to believe for your own self. It's all about the inner work. And so I was talking with my prayer partner, and I was sharing that where I was leaning more towards was judgment. And that judgment about what I see happening in the world of effect. And I don't need to stand here this morning and give you a whole litany of everything that is wrong in the world in the area of social justice, political justice, economic justice, you know, the whole area. And we all are aware of what is going on. None of us have our heads in the sand. And my challenge was relating that to forgiveness. You know, how, if I only focus on the world of effect, how do I engage in the practice of forgiveness? And my prayer partner reminded me that judgment and forgiveness are two totally different things. And so I found this clarifying quote by Miroslav Volf, V-O-L-F is the last name. And he writes, the difference between justice and forgiveness. To be just is to condemn the fault, and because of the fault, to condemn the doer as well. To be just is to condemn the fault, and because of the fault, to condemn the doer as well. To forgive is to condemn the fault, but spare the doer. That's what the forgiving God does. To forgive is to condemn the fault, but spare the doer. That's what the forgiving God does. That's another way of saying release and let it go. Let God work it out. And so I offer 3 focus areas this morning from a science of mind perspective on forgiveness. Forgiveness is a decision. Forgiveness is glimpsing the truth beyond the apparent circumstances. And forgiveness helps us to transform reality. We're subject to the law of cause and effect, which demonstrates that our actions have consequences. For every action, there's a corresponding reaction. We can hold others accountable for their actions while we remain free from judging and condemnation. The laws of spirit call for us to pray for the individual and for ourselves, and then leave the outcome to the universe, recognizing it is arranging everything for a reason. Now this right here, sometimes this can be a bitter pill to swallow. The laws of spirit call for us to pray for the individual and for ourselves, then leave the outcome to the universe, recognizing that the universe is arranging everything for a reason. We also recognize that suffering results from our misuse or ignorance of the law, and it ends automatically when we stop misusing the law and understand how it works. This is often called divine forgiveness, and it is simply the effect of our intelligent use of an impersonal principle. Ernest Holmes offers this from our Science of Mind textbook. There is no sin but error, nor is there punishment but the inevitable consequence. The wrong deed has its punishment because the law of cause and effect operates eternally. Right action also has its reward in the same way. So the universal spirit that is guiding all of this is saying to us that there is no sin, there's error. And there is no punishment, but there are consequences of the error. I have this little story that I came across. It's from the book, How Can I Help by Ram Dass. And the title of the story is Heaven and Hell. A burly, rough samurai went to seek a monk of small stature. Monk, he says to him in a tone of voice that is delivered by one who is accustomed to being acknowledged immediately and instantly obeyed. And the samurai warrior says, teach me something about heaven and hell. Remember, this is a little humble, meek monk. The monk looked at this mighty warrior and replied with the utmost of disdain, saying, teach you something about heaven and hell? I couldn't teach you anything. You're dirty. You smell bad. Your sword is rusty. You're a disgrace to the lineage of the samurai. Get out of here. I can't stand you. The samurai, as you can imagine, became enraged. He trembled, his face reddened. Mute with anger, he drew his sword and raised it, ready to kill the monk. The monk very softly says, that is hell. The samurai shuddered with the thought of the compassion and submission of this little man whose life he was about to risk for the sake of giving him the answer. And as he lowered the sword and stood back, the monk said to him, "That is heaven." And so as we focus on forgiveness, I said at the beginning that forgiveness is a decision, and it's a decision that we deserve. Forgiveness is a sacred act that allows us to reconnect with our source. And it comes from a process of love, reminding us that we're all linked together. When we forgive another, we are forgiving ourselves because there is no other. This is the law. This is a spiritual law. Our relationships allow us to practice forgiveness and to heal our original grief. Someone said that those who bother us, those who irritate us, those who agitate us, are our messengers that have come to help us to see our own pain. That part right there, I have a little struggle with. I get it intellectually, I still haven't embraced it and embodied it. But I am beginning to see and to recognize that when I really feel agitated and upset about something, if I take a step back and take a broader view, look at it from a much broader perspective, I can see that there's a message in there somewhere. So, and a situation, an experience, or perhaps an individual has come to show me that I can choose to forgive and I can choose to live in light and love. We are the artisans, we are the creators of both our joys and our sorrows. And as long as we have a belief in our inadequacy and insufficiency, experiences will keep appearing in our lives that reinforce and confirm those beliefs. We become victims of blame. We blame another person. This results in no healing, and the old beliefs will continue to drive our lives. And again, from our Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes offers this to us. Divine forgiveness is always within reach. A great burden of personal responsibility disappears when we understand that the eternal mind holds nothing against anyone. And remember that each one of us is an inlet and an outlet into this eternal mind of spirit. So if the eternal mind holds nothing against anyone, then as we tap into and recognize that we are an individualized expression of that eternal mind, then our calling, and we are compelled to hold nothing against anyone. Forgiveness is glimpsing the truth beyond the apparent circumstances. It is seeing beyond. It allows us to recognize that love is always involved. We're empowered to take back the power that we had given to someone else who made us feel bad. Remembering that we forgive ourselves and we choose that what we feel, and this becomes our practice. This becomes our practice to remember that we choose what we feel. This is our practice. The payoff, we're always looking for a payoff. It's the WIFM, what's in it for me? And so the payoff, forgiving benefits our mental, our emotional, and our physical health. Our emotions physically reside in the body and interrelate with our cells and tissues. And if we forgive, we can interrupt the energetic process that disease has on the physical body. That in itself is good news, is that I can, through my thoughts, through my practices, interrupt that which would come in and attack my body. That's the idea of physician heal thyself. And I offer a little practice to you. If you're willing, allow the eyes to close or to soften the glance just for a few moments. And as we enter into this silent space, I invite you to think about your relationships with your children, with your parents, with a spouse, with a partner, with friends, other people that are a part of your life. And in the stillness of this moment, think about who you feel remorse, anger, hurt, or rage toward. And now I invite you to allow your attention to return to the space and gently open your eyes when you feel ready. And as you think about this situation, turn it over to God's handling. Let go of what has tied you to the past. And this is a practice that you can do at any time. And actually, the pause was only for 10 seconds. But in those 10 seconds, what came up for you? Think about that. And so this is a practice that you can take with you and expand the time as you develop your own self-love and develop your own compassion. Remembering that the past only exists as long as we hold it in our memory. Letting go, letting go, letting go allows us to heal our wounds with compassion. And then forgiveness helps to transform reality. We must not deny our pain, because if we do so, we would deny the process. Remember, this is a process and experience that we are going through. Studies have shown that when an external situation activates a memory of suffering, an emotional regression takes place, and the adult behaves like that small child. We go back to being that small child that didn't feel loved, who feels guilty, who always assumed that it was their fault for whatever the experience or the situation was. And this regression, this retrospect, takes us back to that place where we first experienced pain as that small child. Forgiveness of ourselves and forgiveness of others is a process that frees us to live in the eternal now. Through forgiveness, we free ourselves. And Dr. Holmes offers this from Living the Science of Mind. God's nature is generosity and forgiveness. The universe holds nothing against us. It only desires our well-being. The universe holds nothing against us. It only desires our well-being. And so our call to action this morning is to recognize that we're in a process of transformation, undergoing experiences that help us to evolve. Colin Tipping writes this in Radical Forgiveness. As soon as you catch yourself judging, being right, or wanting to change something about a situation, bring your state of awareness back to the present. Let go of the illusion and align with spiritual truth. Forgiveness is a path that allows us to free ourselves from resentments and regrets and find inner peace. It is a sacred act that allows us to reconnect with our source, and it is a tool that we're given to move forward on the path of evolution. And this brings us to our journal and reflection questions for the week. And I've asked our tech team to drop these in the chat for our Zoom family and into the comments section for our Facebook family that is with us today. And our first question is, can I open myself to the possibility that something is happening beyond the obvious, something purposeful, divinely oriented in pursuit of a higher good? Can I open myself to the possibility that something is happening beyond the obvious, something that is purposeful, divinely oriented in pursuit of a higher good? And our second question is, can I consider that I am provided with countless situations to learn, to grow, and to heal? Can I consider, again, we're working in the realm of possibility. Can I consider that I am provided with countless situations to learn, to grow, and to heal? And our third question is, what if I consider the experience? What if I consider the expressing? What if I consider that expressing my sadness dissolves the pain? Because pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. It is a choice. What if I consider that expressing my sadness dissolves the pain? Because pain is inevitable. I recognize that suffering is optional and that it is a choice. And so our affirmation for the week is, I forgive and I am free. Let us say that together. I forgive and I am free. And as we turn within, I invite us to pray together in the full awareness that there is one life. That life is God's life. That life is whole, it is perfect, it is complete. That life is the life that I am living right here and right now. And as this is true for me, it is true for each person that is a part of this experience right here, right now. Those who are present here in our physical space, in our sanctuary, those who are joining us via technology, be it Zoom, be it Facebook, whenever and wherever you may be viewing this service from, know that the life that each one is living is the life of God. And so it is in this moment I speak the word for myself, and I speak the word for our entire community and for our entire planet. Yes, I am bold enough this morning to speak my word for the planet, declaring that forgiveness is the order of the day. Letting go of judgment, letting go of criticism, letting go of fear, letting go of doubt, letting go of anger, letting go of all of the isms that block me from my full awareness of my presence in spirit, as spirit, in tune with and in alignment with the truth of who I am. I let that all go. I let that all fade back into the nothingness from whence it came. And as I declare this truth for myself, I am declaring it for our entire planet, knowing that we are coming together on one accord. And in our coming together, it's like the caterpillar being transformed into the butterfly. There's the minutia, there's the slush, there's all of this stuff that appears to get in the way, but it's working itself out. That is the good news. It is working itself out for our highest and best. And on the other side, there is such sweetness, there is such beauty, there is such joy. And the journey is worth all of the little minutiae that we go through. It's letting it go, letting it stay in that chrysalis stage and emerging as this beautiful image and this beautiful likeness of spirit that we are. And so our call is to see the beauty in each one, to see the joy in each one, to see the glory of God expressing in each one. And I speak my word of blessing for all who have a prayer request, knowing that the answer is yes, whatever that prayer request may be for. If it's for divine right relationship, right and perfect living, right and perfect right livelihood, right and perfect travel, right and perfect enjoying the beauty of life, whatever it is that is the heart's desire, I know that the Spirit is saying yes, right here, right now. And I bless places where individuals are gathering in unity on one accord, recognizing the spirit of truth that resonates with each one, knowing that there are many paths that lead us back to this place that is called home, this place that is called the source, this place that is called universal intelligence. And as we travel the paths, sometimes we travel parallel, sometimes our paths intersect. And I know that everything is happening for the highest and best of everyone, and the outcome is only good. In gratitude for this and so much more, I release my word into the law, which always says yes, and I just allow it to be so. And if any that I have said resonates with you in any way, Let us affirm it together by saying, and so it is. And so it is. Thank you for the various ways that you support our community with your love, with your talents, with your gifts. And this is our opportunity now to participate in the act of conscious giving, the giving of our financial resources. We have an abundance statement that, an affirmation of abundance that I invite us to say together. I recognize the presence of God within as a source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And the ways to contribute to our center are identified on your screen. You may mail your donation in. You may donate through our secure website, and you may also text to give. So again, we thank you for ways that you continue to love and support our community. As we say good morning to our Facebook audience, I want to thank you for your presence. We appreciate you. We thank God for you, and we love you. And we invite you to come back next week, where our topic will be the ultimate fear buster. The ultimate fear buster. I'm already excited about what that is going to look like as we reveal that love. I'm gonna give you a little preview. I'm gonna say that love is the ultimate fear buster. So we invite you to come back and see how that unfolds. And so we say good morning to our Facebook family. Have a blessed and beautiful and bountiful life.